Welcome to Ping 24 Updates, where you get the most important news and stories from around the world every day. Subscribe my channel and click the bell icon to stay informed. Under the relentless blaze of the tropical sun, a battered Philippine supply vessel inches forward, its hull scarred by years of service. The ship's destination is the BRP Sierra Madre, a rusting World War II-era vessel intentionally grounded on a remote reef, now a lonely outpost of Philippine sovereignty in the South China Sea. Suddenly, the calm is shattered. Chinese Coast Guard cutters surge into view, larger, faster, and bristling with intimidating water cannons, their white hulls gleaming in the sunlight as they close in on the smaller Philippine boat. Over loudspeakers and radio, aggressive warnings blare out. The Chinese demand the Filipinos turn back, insisting these waters are under their control, their voices echoing across the waves in a tense standoff. But the Filipino crew stands resolute, undeterred by the threats. Their mission is clear and vital: deliver food, water, and essential supplies to the Marines stationed on the Sierra Madre, who rely on these lifelines to hold their post. Every supply run is a dangerous gamble, with Chinese ships circling like sharks, their maneuvers calculated to intimidate and block the way. This is more than a simple confrontation. It's a high-stakes contest of nerves, determination, and national will, played out on the open sea. The world watches closely, cameras capturing every tense moment, as a small act of defiance by the Philippines exposes a much larger, ongoing struggle for control and influence in the South China Sea. For years, the Philippine Navy has faced these confrontations with outdated, outmatched ships, remnants of a bygone era, struggling to keep pace with modern threats. The courage and resolve of the sailors are undeniable, but their equipment is aging, and technology is sorely lacking, making every mission a test of ingenuity and bravery. Each standoff serves as a stark reminder: sovereignty at sea is not just about flags and claims. It depends on the strength, readiness, and modernization of your fleet. The urgent need for a modern, self-reliant navy has never been clearer. Filipino engineers and shipbuilders now work tirelessly, constructing new vessels that promise a stronger, more secure future. This time, the supply run succeeds. The crew unloads their cargo, relief and pride etched on their faces. But the tension never truly fades. Each mission could be the next flashpoint. This is more than a military story. It's about a nation's determination, resilience, and the fight for its future, played out on the waves. The launch of a new, locally built naval vessel marks a turning point, a symbol of hope, security, and the Philippines' growing independence in defending its own waters. For decades, the Philippine Navy was often described as a floating museum, filled with hand-me-downs from the US. Ships with storied pasts, but systems that belonged to another era. These vessels, while once proud symbols of naval power, had seen better days and were now struggling to keep up with the demands of modern maritime defense. Maintenance was a constant struggle, with crews forced to scavenge for spare parts, often improvising just to keep their aging vessels afloat. The sailors became adept at making do with what little they had, but it was a never-ending battle against rust, wear, and time. This cycle of dependency on foreign surplus ships stifled true progress, trapping the Navy in a pattern where innovation was always just out of reach. Budgets were tight, and modernization always seemed out of reach. Every year, requests for new equipment were met with limited funding, forcing the Navy to prioritize repairs over upgrades. Sailors became experts at patchwork repairs, using creativity and resourcefulness to keep ships operational. But despite their best efforts, the fleet lagged far behind regional threats, unable to match the capabilities of neighboring navies. When tensions flared in the West Philippine Sea, the limitations of these old ships became painfully obvious. The Navy found itself outmatched, struggling to project power and protect the nation's interests. The nation's economic interests and sovereignty were at risk, as fishermen and coastal communities depended on the Navy for protection in increasingly contested waters. It became clear that the Philippines needed ships designed specifically for its unique geography and defense needs, vessels capable of navigating shallow waters and responding quickly to threats across its vast archipelago. Public outcry over repeated standoffs and perceived weakness galvanized political will. The people demanded a stronger, more capable Navy, and leaders could no longer ignore the call for change. The Armed Forces Modernization Program finally gained momentum, shifting focus from relying on foreign hand-me-downs to building real capability at home. This marked a turning point in the nation's defense strategy. This wasn't just about acquiring new hardware. It was about changing the nation's mindset, fostering pride, and building a Navy that could stand on its own. The goal was clear: break free from dependency and chart a path to self-reliance, ensuring the Navy could defend the country's future. The decision to build ships at home was a bold and necessary step toward that future, a future where the Philippine Navy could finally take pride in its own strength and capabilities. Naval power isn't just about destroyers and frigates. For the Philippines, landing craft are essential. These versatile vessels can deliver troops, equipment, and supplies directly onto beaches, crucial for a nation of over 7,600 islands. In defense, they reinforce remote outposts and sustain a presence in contested waters. They're the logistical backbone, enabling the Philippines to project force and maintain sovereignty. In disaster relief, landing craft deliver aid where ports and airfields are destroyed. Their dual-use role makes them invaluable for both security and humanitarian missions. Investing in new landing craft is about protecting citizens and territory alike. Building them locally multiplies their significance. It's a commitment to national resilience and self-sufficiency. The Philippines is embracing a self-reliant defense posture, a bold initiative designed to reduce the country's dependence on foreign suppliers for its military needs and strengthen national security from within. For decades, nearly all major defense gear was imported, often at great expense and sometimes ill-suited for the country's unique maritime challenges. This reliance left the armed forces vulnerable to supply disruptions and shifting international politics. Now, the government is actively nurturing a local defense industry, offering incentives and support to Filipino companies to build everything from ammunition and firearms to advanced naval ships and support vehicles. The revival of local shipbuilding, especially at historic sites like Cavite Naval Shipyard, is central to this ambitious strategy, creating jobs and expertise at home. By producing its own equipment, the Philippines gains greater control over its security, ensures equipment is tailored to local needs, and reduces vulnerability to shifting alliances or embargoes. This self-reliance is especially vital amid rising tensions in the South China Sea, where the ability to rapidly deploy and maintain naval assets is crucial for national defense. The rebirth of the naval shipyard Cavite stands as a direct and visible result of this policy, symbolizing a new era of Filipino capability and pride. Instead of relying on imports, the Navy is now building its own landing craft, serving as a test case for the broader potential of local manufacturing and engineering talent. Each new vessel launched is a tangible step from policy to reality, demonstrating that Filipino innovation and determination can meet the nation's defense needs. The self-reliant defense posture is more than just a slogan. It's a movement, embodied by every vessel ready to sail proudly under the Philippine flag, charting a course toward a more secure and independent future. In Cavite, the Navy's shipyard is buzzing with new ambition. Once focused on repairs, it now tackles the challenge of building a modern landing craft from scratch. Filipino engineers and workers are designing a vessel tailored for the archipelago's unique needs. The ship is optimized for shallow waters, local cargo, and specific missions. Local construction means customization and a perfect operational fit. The project blends traditional skills with modern technology, upgrading facilities and training personnel. It's more than a ship. It's a learning experience, building expertise for future projects. Pride runs high as the vessel takes shape, a symbol of national capability. Sailors know this ship was built with their safety in mind. The Cavite-built craft marks the Navy's evolution from consumer to creator. Building a landing craft locally is a strategic investment in the Philippine economy. Funds stay in-country, creating jobs for shipyard workers and suppliers. The project boosts steel, electronics, and engineering industries, multiplying economic benefits. It drives technology transfer and workforce upskilling, skills that last beyond a single ship. Local defense projects spark innovation, with new solutions spilling into civilian markets. A strong shipbuilding sector could even lead to exports, turning necessity into opportunity. Reducing reliance on foreign supply chains builds economic resilience. The ability to maintain and repair the fleet at home is a strategic advantage. Local shipbuilding is about more than money. It's about building a robust, independent economy. The new landing craft is more than a ship. It's a strategic signal in the South China Sea. Its deployment shows the Philippines' resolve to defend its maritime rights. While one vessel won't tip the balance, it strengthens deterrence and sustains remote outposts. Reliable logistics make it harder for rivals to challenge Philippine positions. The landing craft is part of a broader modernization, working alongside new frigates and patrol vessels. It multiplies the fleet's effectiveness, making the Navy a more formidable force. China and the region are watching. This is a sign of growing resolve among Southeast Asian nations. The ship is a symbol of defiance and a step toward a more balanced regional order. The launch of local shipbuilding is a proud milestone, but challenges loom. Technical hurdles are steep. Building modern warships demands precision and integration. The Cavite shipyard is still learning, and early setbacks could threaten future support. Financial constraints are real. Sustained investment is crucial for long-term success. Political will must outlast election cycles to keep projects moving. Continuity is key. Skills gained must be applied to future builds, not lost to delays. Scaling up from one ship to a fleet will require a larger industrial base and more skilled workers. Strategic planning and partnerships with academia and industry are essential. The journey is just beginning, and the nation must commit for the long haul. Only then can local shipbuilding become a permanent pillar of defense. This landing craft is more than steel and engines. It's a symbol of national pride. Built by Filipinos for Filipinos, it marks a break from dependency and a step towards self-determination. The project boosts morale in the armed forces, showing real investment in their mission. Sailors will feel a unique pride serving on a vessel made at home. The ship challenges outdated perceptions and inspires future generations in science and engineering. Its symbolic value rivals its strategic role, a declaration of independence and resolve. As it sails from Manila Bay, it carries the hopes of a nation. The Philippines is charting its own course, powered by its own industry and strength.